Hello and welcome to another episode of the CUFI Weekly, and I want to talk about an incident which occurred this week on Wednesday, similar to one that occurred earlier this week, which hasn't really got much news coverage, and how that ties into the wider things going on in Gaza with Hamas. Now on Wednesday, a Hamas terrorist unit launched an attack on an Israeli Defense Forces post. Over 15 terrorists came out of a tunnel shaft and launched this assault, wounding one soldier seriously and two others moderately. The IDF fought off the attack and most of the attackers were killed. A few fled, and at the time of recording, the IDF is pursuing them and launching a search operation to find the terrorists that got away. Now, this is the second such attempt like this in the last week. And what the IDF has stated is that one of the main goals of this attack was to try and kidnap soldiers. Now, I think this is important and relevant right now because also this week we had more talks for a possible ceasefire, and at times it seemed pretty close that a ceasefire could happen which would see hostages released. Sadly, just as in the past, Hamas taking a maximalist position made the talks stall, and again, at the time of recording, it doesn't look like any progress has been made. But what I wanted to point out is the fact that you have Hamas, who claim to be negotiating for a ceasefire to release the hostages, yet they're trying to take more hostages. Like, Hamas is seeing this as a bargaining chip, and rather negotiating in good faith, they are trying to take more hostages, kidnap more Israelis. For what purpose? While it makes absolutely no sense, it makes complete sense from Hamas's worldview. Because this is what they do. They are a genocidal terrorist group committed to the destruction of Israel and the Jewish people. So while the world and so many believe that Hamas is negotiating in good faith and continue to put the pressure on Israel to make a deal, can we look at literally this week where Hamas is trying to take more hostages, where it's trying to kidnap Israeli soldiers? It's not just about attacking them and killing them, it's actually trying to take them and create more hostages. Yes, of course, you're always going to have those fringe voices who will jump on board anything which is against Israel. But we're seeing more and more the mainstreaming of a position which is supportive of Hamas. And while it's not explicitly stated, you have, of course, those people in New York City saying they are Hamas and burning American flags, but people aren't directly saying this in the mainstream. But they are demonizing Israel. They're using the same Hamas talking points. They're using the same statistics that Hamas put out. And it has become abundantly clear that we can't trust Hamas casualty figures because Hamas lie. Just as they are negotiating for a ceasefire and a hostage deal, they are also trying to kidnap more people. And we also found out this week that not only is it that Hamas figures, shockingly, we can't even trust UN figures. Again, this shouldn't be surprising, but the UN is meant to stand for something. There is meant to be some accountability. The Israeli Defense Forces unit, which deals with the territories, Kogat, revealed that there was a discrepancy of 6,000 trucks of aid that the UN simply did not list as having entered Gaza. That's 6,000 trucks of aid in May that went into Gaza that the UN decided to just leave off their reporting. Why? To demonize Israel, to push their own narrative. We saw that the UN changed their metric on how they define famines so that they could declare the situation in Gaza a famine. It seems that the UN will do absolutely anything to demonize Israel. It will change its own rules if it has to. It's done it before, obviously with UNRWA. Every single refugee on planet Earth is managed by the same UN body, the UNHCR, but Palestinian refugees have their own. They have UNRWA, and even the definition of a refugee is different for the Palestinians. It seems like the UN is obsessed with the Palestinians and always fighting their corner regardless of what they do, and always demonizing Israel. But we've got to remember why this happened. We've got to remember that Israel is at war, and people will come out with these twisted narratives of why is the war not over? Nobody wants this war to continue, but we want the hostages home. They should never have been taken on October 7th. They should never have been held in captivity this long. Yet that persists. These are groups that blend in to the population. They use tunnels. They hide behind women and children. Any sort of attack that kills civilians is a win for them because they use it as propaganda. In the future, people will study this conflict. People will study society. And I would like to think when we look back, we'll be able to say that there have been few conflicts where we have seen the world embrace moral bankruptcy so quickly, who have rallied behind a terrorist organization and have rewarded acts of terrorism. And that is why we must continue speaking up for the truth. We must continue to search for the truth. And we can't be manipulated or guilted into standing up for what is abhorrent and evil. This is Kasim Hafeez for the CUFI Weekly. For Zion's sake, do not remain silent.
Thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe so you get a notification every time a new episode hits. And if you want to check out some of our previous episodes, and we've got some really good ones, click on one of the thumbnails and that will take you right there. And finally, if you want to know more about CUFI and the work we do, go to CUFI.org to check out all the resources we have available free to you.